CC Youth. Welcome to This is Real Life, Encouraging Truth in Quarantine, Episode 4. In the Bible, in the book of John, we find an account of Jesus at the temple during Passover. Passover is a yearly Jewish celebration, and the temple was at the time considered God's house. The text says that when Jesus comes into the temple, he finds people selling animals. They were selling oxen, sheep, and pigeons, animals to be used for the sacrifices at Passover. Now, what happens next may be shocking, actually. The text says that Jesus makes a whip, and he drives them all out of the temple. As well, Jesus pours out the coins of those changing the money, and he flips their tables over. I mean, like living in the text here, we might see a mass of people and animals just running, terrified out of the temple, and Jesus, filled to the brim with rage, heart beating, body sweating, as he just empties the temple of anybody who is doing business. Wow. Loved one, why does Jesus seem to be acting so fiercely here and yet so gently in the other accounts that we looked at? Is this the same Jesus? Where's the consistency? Loved one, Jesus' zeal for justice, for God's intended design, is the consistency. His healing of a disabled woman on the Sabbath, his attending to the seeking tax collector, his submitting to the Father's timing, and now his fierce clearing of the temple are all examples of his zeal for justice, for God's intended design. God designed the woman to have rest. He designed the tax collector to be found. He designed his plan to be best, and he designed the temple to be his house, not a supermarket. Take these pigeons away, Jesus says. Do not make my Father's house a house of trade. The people used the temple as a house of trade, but God designed the temple to be a house of relationship. And Jesus' zeal for justice, God's intended design, moved him to act, to see God's beautiful design restored. And amazingly, what we read next is that this zeal is so foundational to who Jesus is that it had been sung about for 1,000 years before this account. The text says that after Jesus did this, his disciples remembered that it was written, "Zeal for your house will consume me." These are words from Psalm 69, a song that the people would have sung together. Loved one, Jesus' zeal for justice, for God's intended design, continues today. Maybe there's something in this world that consumes you with zeal because you know that it's wrong. Maybe it's racism. Maybe it's climate change or cancer or addiction. Be encouraged. Jesus, the Son of God, is consumed with zeal for these things too. I mean, isn't it good to know that God also seeks justice? You are not alone in your zeal. Bring your zeal to the Lord, and he will show you how to act on it. Bless you. God's got this.